Hey, what's up everyone? We're going to do an indoors video this time around. I've been trying to plan out some longer overnight hiking trips, and one thing I always have trouble planning out is what kind of food to bring along. Sometimes I like to go minimal and not bring a stove, just pack in some jerky, fruit, nuts, and bars, that kind of thing. But it'd be really nice to have an actual cooked meal out there, but you can't really pack in a steak and potatoes and a big Caesar salad. It doesn't work that way. You want something that's lightweight, packable, and something that won't spoil if it's warm out. And I think what a lot of people do is they buy those dehydrated meal bags. I've had a few of those in my day. They're actually pretty good. But what I'm wondering is if I can make one of those myself. So I looked into the available options, and the Ninja Foodie was a really good candidate. It's a slow cooker, it's an air fryer, and it's also a dehydrator. But that thing is an absolute unit. I'd probably need a trailer in order to carry it around, so that's off the table. And the standalone dehydrators, they're still pretty big, and I don't think I'll use it enough to justify tripping over it every single day. So what if I could build my own? What is a dehydrator exactly, do you ask? Well, it's basically just a heater with a fan that carries away the moisture. And it turns out that I have two of those already, the diesel heater, and I also have an electric space heater that I could use. So I was wondering, maybe I could put one of those to use. So I've already built my dehydrator box, so let me go grab that real quick and we'll get down to business. So here's what I came up with. I spent $10 total on some foil tape. It's all collapsible. This is the main body, then the top and the bottom. This folds out like that. It's all lined with aluminum foil, and it lines up with either my diesel heater or my electric space heater. And I can fit my grills inside there. I can use one or stack them on top of each other if I need extra room. Well, there's no plug-ins out here, so I'm going to use my diesel heater today to do a test run on a meal. But if you're in the south or a desert, then you can put a clear plexiglass lid on top of this, and the heat from the sun would be more than enough to dehydrate your food. We get the occasional warm day up here, but it's normally around like 15 to 20 degrees Celsius. It's actually a really good spot to spend the summer if you live in a vehicle. It's nice and comfy. But my diesel is like 2 months old, so I should probably burn it off anyways. I'll just have to turn on the ventilation and open up the windows and let the heat go outside. I should have been doing this back in the winter, making jerky and heating the van at the same time. That would have been maximum efficiency. So I'm planning on making like a chicken vegetable noodle soup. I've already cooked my chicken breast up in the frying pan. Then I got some carrot, celery, onion, and mushrooms. They recommend that you blanch your vegetables if you want them to last the longest, but I'm going to skip that step today. Alright, I chopped everything up into about 1/4 inch thick pieces, and we're ready to get this show on the road. I couldn't quite fit all my food in there, but this will be a good start to see how it all works out. Turn the diesel heater down to its lowest setting. Put the lid on it now, so then all the moisture can blow out through there. It's about 3:30 now. We'll see how long this takes. I imagine some things will finish quicker than others. It's been 2 hours now, and I think the chicken and the carrots are just about done. I might pull those out soon. The mushrooms are coming along. The celery, I cut it up into small pieces. I think it's going to take the longest out of everything to dry those out. I pulled apart the onions to speed that up too. It's been about 3 hours. We're getting close to the finish line now. It's like a sauna in here. I haven't done one of these sit and talk type videos in a long time. This is going to be a throwback to the old days. Some people have been wondering if I'm going to start up a new van build anytime soon. The short answer is no, but theoretically, let's just put it all out there. So if I was to try to sell this van, I'd want to keep all my electronics, the solar, the heater, and all that stuff. And at that point, I might as well just gut it completely and sell it as an empty shell. Maybe someone would want it as a cargo van or to start up their own camper van conversion. But trying to sell an empty shell of a minivan with about 220,000 kilometers, I'm not going to get any money for it. So it makes the most sense to keep it and just squeeze as much value out of it as I possibly can. And if something ever comes up that's too expensive to fix, then move on to something else then. Well, that's nice. The rain's coming down. I'm gonna have to close up my windows, but I think this is almost done, so I should be able to turn off the heater soon. But as for the next van build, the practical side of me is saying that I should start with something that's like brand new, that's gonna last a long time. But then the YouTube content creation side of me is saying, well, no, maybe you should just keep switching it up every other year. Just keep trying different things. Try Delica, try Sienna, try an Astro, try Suburban. Just keep mixing it up. I mean, those van build and van tour type videos, they seem to do the best on YouTube. So it makes a lot of sense to go that route. That's almost been 5 hours now, and I think it's all done. The mushrooms, they feel really brittle. The celery like reduced down to nothing. I don't know if I'd bother doing those again, but I'm going to shut off the heater now. The carrots and the chicken, they took about 3 hours. This is like as hard as leather now. Just crumbles apart. I thought the carrots would take a lot longer. And there you have it, a homemade dehydrated meal. I think it should last a long time without spoiling, and if I chopped it up, I mean, it would take up very little room and weigh next to nothing. And I think I'm going to make up my own bouillon with this garlic and herb mix instead of using the Mr. Noodle packet. But I'm just going to let this sit overnight, and maybe tomorrow we can go out for a camp and cook it up, see how it tastes. Let's talk about navigation. So I just use my phone with an app called Alpine Quest, and it's easily the best app that I've ever used. It's just so straightforward, there's no extra clutter, and all the maps that you could ask for are in one spot. I'm just going to start out with landscape mode so you can see full screen what's going on, but I like doing summit, so I start out in this Google terrain view, but there's a lot of different maps that you can choose from, the OpenStreetMaps, Bing Maps. I use their aerial maps a lot. Google has their own satellite view, and as does ESRI. The more sources that you have, the better. This also shows Strava heat maps, which is pretty cool. But depending on where you are, if you're in a popular area like a national park, let's say Banff, then I'd start out with the OpenStreetMaps in cycle hike map mode, and this does a really good job to display where all the trails are, all these red dotted lines. 90% of the time they are like hiking / scrambling routes, but it still helps to Google the name of the mountain and see if you can find a blog post and just figure out what you're up against. But some areas like where I am now, you're going to find that almost nothing is marked on here, and it's up to you to figure it out. I've been able to find a couple of GPS routes to download, and you can load those into this. Otherwise, it's up to you to figure it out, like I did here on Mount Cairns. If you switch to one of the imagery, satellite imagery modes, then if you zoom in, sometimes you can find where the trails are. If it leads up to someone's house, then chances are it's just a driveway, but in a lot of cases you can figure out where like rough ATV tracks go, and you can use those to get to where you want to go. I mean, bushwhacking, it depends on where you are. Around here it's almost impossible, and I try to follow like drainages that are a lot easier to hike up, but it really depends on where you are. I try to avoid hiking on top of glaciers. It's just too dangerous. There's crevasses that you could fall into. You got to be with other people and be all roped up and do it safely. And the way that mountains form, there's normally like a steep side, then an easier, more accessible slope side that you can go up, but you never know. You never know what you're going to find out there. But everything that you look at in here is automatically saved into your phone. You can see, like, with the Google Train, I have 1.12 gigabytes saved. So if you're out there and you lose cell service, then your map is there. You don't have to worry about it. And you can make your own routes on the fly. And you get an idea of how far you have to walk to get it done. But I'd use this app to plan things out, day hikes, like up to like a week long. I mean, it's just so slick. But if you look here at this line, how it's moving around, whichever way that I point my phone, that line moves. So if I'm looking at a mountain and I'm wondering what it is, then I just have to point my phone at it. Okay, that's Sifton Peak, and it's 73 kilometers away. That's helpful. And you can also use this to record your tracks too as you're out there walking or biking, and later on you can export it into Strava or whatever you want to do with it. Well, here's my dehydrated meal pack. It looks like potpourri. It smells good. I'm gonna put the noodles right in there, and we'll put some salt, pepper, paprika, and a garlic and herb mix. Alright, I'm up here on this hill. Got some rain behind me. That's the direction the wind is blowing, so hopefully stay dry tonight. But I'm gonna see if I can find a sheltered place to pitch my tent and get that meal going. Alright, I'm all set up here out of the breeze. Just enough to keep the mosquitoes away though. I wish I could have had the lake in the background, but whatever, you can't look at the scenery while you're sleeping. Nice and cozy. Alright, Jesse, let's cook. The vegetables all turned out really good. It's like the flavor compressed down. The carrots especially turned out really tasty. The chicken though turned out really chewy. Around the outside it softened up, so maybe the trick is to shred it up really fine or put it in first and let it boil longer. It is totally edible. I mean, it's protein. Well, yeah, it turned out incredibly good. I think I'm going to make up a big batch of it next time I head out on a big hiking trip. Well, that concludes today's experiment. If you got any tips or tricks of your own, let me know. But I'm going to watch a movie, then go to bed. So thanks for watching, and thank you to Patreon supporters. You guys are keeping me out of the factory and on the trails, and I'll see you in the next one.